Welcome to this episode of ACG's GrowthTV. I'm Carolyn Vallejo, and today I'm here with Mortimer Singer, Managing Partner at Traub Capital Partners. He's here with us to talk about trends in the consumer goods space. So, Morty, we're going to start with Traub's recent acquisition of Brand Castle as an add-on acquisition to Signature Brands. I'd love to hear a little bit about how that acquisition helps Signature fill a need in the consumer goods space.
Well, it's good to be with you, Carolyn. Thank you so much for having me. So Signature Brands is a wonderful business, and Brand Castle we think was the long lost family member that we finally found or rediscovered and have brought her back into the fold, as it were, because Signature, each of their businesses are the four leaders in their categories. So whether it be Pumpkin Masters, which is the carving kits, or the Pa's Easter egg decorating businesses, which you saw everywhere the last few weeks, the Betty Crocker cake decorating business, Gift Pop, which is our popcorn business. Brand Castle is the nexus of our, let's call it, specialty toy or decorating business like Pa's and Pumpkin Masters, which actually decorate food products, versus our actual food business. And they are a gingerbread house kit business. So you can imagine it's kind of a toyetic in a way, right? But also a food product. So it allows us to bring both sides of the house together. And indeed, right out of the gates, we're making Pa's Easter egg houses for the Easter egg bunny. So it's right out of the gates, the two businesses are really flying together very, very well.
Now, it's been a rocky couple of years. Are you seeing any changes in society that might impact some needs in the consumer goods space?
Well, yes. I mean, it's interesting. The consumer has absolutely taken a step back from their traditional lives and looked at the things that I think have meaning to them. Mindfulness in consumerism is something that used to be maybe a cliche before 2020, and now the mindful consumer is showing up in many different ways. And what that means is that they do care about experiences. They care about their families, and not they didn't before, but what can we do to get the family together? How can we all be entertained together? The home, how can we make the home and the garden more of a pleasurable place to be? And not just for a pandemic, but in general, because people spent time there and they realized what that meant. Personal care, we have a personal care business in Manor Products, which creates some of the great skincare products or cosmetics or hybrid products for that industry. And women, and indeed men as well, are now taking care of their skin, SPF, sun, caring about soap and cleanliness, and thinking about viruses in a different way and what it means to take care of the family through personal care. And I think that those three buckets in particular will really affect the kinds of businesses that many of our colleagues and many of our even competitors will try and follow.
Mm-hmm. Now, are there any perhaps niche areas within consumer goods where there are established companies that maybe weren't so popular with consumers a few years ago, but are now gaining popularity, or you might forecast will gain popularity?
Sure. So, I mean, we've had, I would say, even pre-pandemic, a strategy that tried to identify the nexus between brand and the enthusiast consumer. And as you can imagine, as you've probably noticed yourself, people have been spending a lot of time outdoors. And so the enthusiast categories is something that we have always cared deeply about. One of my partners owned the biggest marathon business in America. One was the CEO of the North Face. And so we just recently acquired a company called HITS, which is the #1 equestrian events business in this country. So that industry, that segment, that consumer who has a horse and cares to exhibit that horse is showing up all over the country more so than ever before to be outside, to be with their children or their loved one, exhibiting their horses in different venues around the country. And that's, I think, going to continue. And I believe that you asked for a niche business. It's a very niche-y business. But other businesses like that across the long tail of the enthusiast consumer is something that we think is a very important place for people to focus on today.
So perhaps a lot of opportunity there. Morty, thank you so much for joining us today.
Carolyn, thank you so much for having me.
I'm Carolyn Vallejo, and this is GrowthTV.